Hello, it is Elizabeth from Elizabeth's Oracle. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are going to talk about the Sun through Virgo cycle for 2019. Here are the star times for each section in this video, and let's look at some charts. All right, so let's walk through some charts, and as usual, don't mind the paper shuffling. I have to look at the charts when I'm explaining them to you. So the first one is for the day that the Sun goes into Virgo, which is the 23rd of August. And what you'll notice in this chart is so many planets in Earth signs. These are making trines, which means they are 120 degrees apart from each other. And you can see from this chart just massive Earth energies. And if you look to the top left there, you'll see, you guys know I like to look at where the moon is when a cycle starts. And this one is in an Earth sign, which of course is where Uranus is. Of course, we have our three Capricorn energies that are in abundance all year, the usual suspects, Saturn, Pluto, and the South Node. But we've recently, when we come down to the lower left-hand corner, remember at the end of the Leo cycle, both Mars and then Venus moved into Virgo. So this chart is the Sun being there. And for those of you who are new, what I do, I put the earth signs in green, your water signs in blue, fire in the yellow color, and you won't see it in this chart, but we will later. Your air signs are in gray, so that just kind of helps you play along. And as you can see, lots in Earth. We'll explain that in part 2 when we go into the interpretation and meaning. But just to get your bearings, lots of Earth and lots of supportive trining energy happening as we start this cycle. And in fact, it continues to chart number 2. This is our new moon 1 week later. Beautiful stellium in Virgo. You guys know I love the new moons and we set our intentions. So Virgo brings order out of chaos. It organizes, it brings things into practical form and daily routines. It's also great for health. So any of those intentions can be set under this beautiful Earth sign stellium, again getting lots of support from Capricorn and Taurus. You know, Uranus is no joke. It might just be Uranus there in this chart, but it's Uranus. So lots of support, big energy happening here around this new moon. And let's flash forward to chart number 3, which is the full moon. So we're going to talk about our second aspect, but I want to bring up in this video, which is oppositions. In the top left of this chart, you see the moon and Neptune in Pisces, creating a pole opposition energy against everything in the Virgo energy. And this is a polarity. We work with the nebulous, creative, intuitive side that's kind of magical in Neptune and Pisces, with the moon here, versus the rational, organized, orderly Virgo way of doing things. And of course, this is a polarity, so we try not to do either extreme. And I'll explain this a little more in part 2, but this is going to be happening not just at this full moon in terms of the opposition. So you're going to see we're going to have these cool patterns that show up this cycle that are they're such good teaching moments as they call them. So that's chart number 3. And chart number 4, which has the other big theme we're going to talk about, is our last Jupiter square to Neptune. For those of you who are really astute, you'll notice a few things have shifted. This is very late in the cycle, the 21st of September. So in the right-hand side, you see a Gemini moon. And those of you who've been playing along know Gemini is our other mutable sign, or another mutable sign. So we have Neptune in Pisces, the moon in Gemini here, all the planets in Virgo, and then of course our next energy is going to be Um, Jupiter there in Sagittarius creating squares. So lots of energy creating squares. This is a revisit of energies that happened in January and June when we had that really strong Gemini squaring going on amongst the mutable signs. So let's get into that and let's do the interpretation. Alrighty, guys. So now we've looked at the charts and we want to understand what is the meaning of this. You know, my favorite question. So we are dealing with the mutable earth sign of Virgo. Here are some postcards on the exact aspects of it. They're important. What you need to notice is that it is Mercury ruled, which means our thinking. So its ability to stay calm, clear, focused is uncanny, and to stay organized and to take a lot of data and bring some meaning to it is in there. It's an earth sign, so we also deal with the physical and material realms in this year. That's really in evidence. I mean, even if you don't know anything about astrology, you could see all the earth going on in those charts. And of course, we have that beautiful new moon stellium. Virgo also has to do with our daily routines and our health. So this is a time for anything. This has been quite the summer, right? With the, mutable energy that kind of preceded it, just doing a lot of clearing when we had the last Jupiter Neptune square, then bringing us right into eclipse season, then the Lion's Gate. And now it's time to see where the pieces have landed and to put things into place and prepare ourselves to go into the autumn. So the first aspect, and what I loved when I was researching this, was all these patterns. Now you're going to get the personal planets. Most of the time, these patterns are going to go Venus, Mercury, the Sun, Mars. Now, this first one doesn't. This is all to do with Uranus. So these are the earth sign trines. And so everything is going to go and interact with Uranus. So you get to see how the personal planets interact with a big outer planet. The same group, in a little bit of a different order, is going to have the same trining thing, but this time it is with Saturn. And one thing that Saturn and Virgo have in common is they like structure. They're both concerned with how we get something done. So there is a nice supportive energy that's not only earth and how do we bring things into the practical and material realm, into the tangible, but what is the structure? How are we going to do that? And Virgo loves the how and it likes to answer that, so that's a good thing. And then Pluto, to really make sure we're getting it and to really kind of check the work. You can kind of think of it as like you turn in your homework and this is the grade, this is the teacher going through, and it will tell us where we're needing to correct, because its job is to reform and to transmute things. So lots for you guys to experience. And again, I'm mentioning that new moon stellium, such a good time if you've been like, had to get the kids off to school, or it's been in the summer, thing where it's hard to get into a daily routine. Now you can start to put all that together and bring things into a very practical form. Another word we associate with Virgo is practice. Because again, it's about doing something on a daily basis, pretty much, and what your habits are. And habits, can help you accomplish things. That's why I like the energies of the planets in Capricorn working with, in this supportive trining energy with the planets as they move through Virgo. And of course, get that other, lift and catapult, or whatever Uranus is going to do. Well, now that it's retrograde, just throw something in there and go, hey, add this to the mix. It's like a spicy ingredient. But so we have a lot of support supportive energy happening throughout this cycle. So make sure to take advantage of that. And of course, nothing happens in a bubble. So we also get oppositions. This is what I was talking about when we looked at the full moon chart and the planets in Virgo being very practical and analytical, going up against a creative moon and a moon that's 4 degrees away from Neptune. So when we deal with this, I see this as a polarity. We can, when we're getting a little stuck, one of the shadow sides of Virgo is just being overly rigid, not allowing the creative aspect in. So Neptune is kind of this energy that we can work with to bring in a solution that just kind of bubbles up out of nowhere. So I'd say if you're working hard on something, take a break, go for a walk. This is your proverbial study break. And then things all of a sudden start making sense because an answer just sort of comes in this intrinsic, inexplainable way. And both energies are great. Neptune can get a little spacey and it can get a little too, it just wants to escape and stay on a Netflix bender. And so Virgo pulls it in and says, well, there's so many hours in a day. And if you really want to accomplish that thing, you got to work at it a couple hours a day or whatever it is. So it's important to find our place along the polarity and not feel like we have to do one or the other. Last aspect that I want to cover, because we're going to have, again, see the same pattern of the personal planets led by Venus going in and saying, this is how we're doing this. Is the squares. This is the final square of Jupiter to Neptune in these mutable signs for now. And if you'll notice for that chart, we had that Gemini moon at the same time. So big T squares happening among the mutable energy, hearkening us back to June, which had a lot of loss, a lot of clearing. The two ways that I see this working out is either something you were maybe working at in January when we had the first Jupiter Neptune square, or something that came up in June will either be pushed out for good because it just doesn't work no matter how many ways you try it. It's just not meant to be right now. Or you're going to get another pass, another chance, and now the key will go in the lock. And the other argument I will make about this is that we are not heading into eclipse season like June. So I don't think this is going to feel as harsh or as difficult or feel like you're just getting slammed with so much releasing and loss and you got to let this go kind of energy. I mean, there may be something that's got to be cleared that's not meant for right now. But the mutable energies here, one, we have all the support of earth energy to help us build things. But two, this is just, after the eclipse and after the eclipses, and those don't start up again till late December. So we're just not in the same energy that we were in June. Although, like I said, I think something that is connected with that time is likely to come up one more time for either putting it together and it working out now, or you just saying, yeah, I'm tired of trying to make this work. Could be a relationship that you just fight all the time or whatever it is, and you just go, it's just not worth it, not worth all this energy. So we are moving into a time of preparing for the cardinal energies, as you see in the chart, this last chart here. Venus and Mercury have moved on to a cardinal sign, Libra, and of course that's where the sun goes next. And our mutables do clear things out. They finish up things and get us ready. So we are looking at what we are bringing in next. But overall, I like that we get the trines, we get the opposition to work with on such a personal level, because these are the personal planets going through them. So we really get to experience them and go, that's what that's like. And then finally, the squaring energy that we build to very late in the cycle. And of course, we finished this last one of the series of Jupiter and Neptune. Yay! I'm actually personally kind of glad we're getting that done this early in the year, so to speak, because we'll finish this cycle and then really get ready to do the autumn of the year and start winding it down. So big cycle, lots in here. I hope I've unpacked it for you pretty well. And if you wouldn't mind, just stick around for a second, and I want to just go over some resources. All right, you guys, I'm Elizabeth from Elizabeth's Oracle. All of my information is always in the description box. Several things, that are additional resources for you. One, you can like or subscribe to this channel so that you get notifications each month when I post a video. You can also sign up for a free monthly newsletter. Your information is always, always, always respected. I've had that like 10 years, it just, I treat you guys like I would want to be treated when I join somebody's list. That also always includes a message from my oracle, and when I'm running a special, that is in there as well. So sometimes there are newsletter community only specials that are in there. Next, I have been writing weekly forecasts. Now, I don't go through every sun sign. I just kind of tune into what is happening each week. So for those of you who'd like to know a little more, regularly, feel free to check out my site on Sundays. I put those posts, and they just kind of tell you what the energies are and what shifts are happening during a week, and of course my interpretation of that. I'm on Instagram and kind of sharing this information as well. Again, that link is in the description box. There is Free Minute Friday. If you order on a Friday, I add 5 minutes to the order, and you can have the reading any day of the week. It's just a little, thing that I like doing. I also have been visiting with my friend Christina Walsh on her radio show. So there's usually an episode, that's talking about the time that we're in or just a little ahead. So you can catch up on those and listen anytime at Inflow Radio. Again, all the links are always in the description box. And I think that is it, except also to say hi to long-term viewers who may recognize my bookshelves of my books. You have to be a pretty long-term viewer or follower to notice those. I am back in my office. Thank you, Lord. Happy to, like, there's something about Virgo that I love, and something about being back in touch with my books, just unpacking them and seeing, flipping them open and all of that. I kind of had a little 18-month sabbatical of sorts. Too long to go into details with you here, but it's really nice to be back with the books, and I cannot think of a more appropriate sun cycle than Virgo. Studious me, I like cracking those books. So yeah, I think it's this cycle is it's a shift, but I think it's extremely productive, and I think after all that has happened in the summer of 2019, we can close it out and actually start to see where the pieces have landed and put things back into our lives, back into practice on a very daily or at least regular basis. So that's what's going on. We will see you hopefully when the sun I'll be here. I hope you come back when the sun goes into Libra. So again, thank you so much for watching, subscribing, whatever you do. Just blessings, love, and we'll see you soon. Okay, thank you.